Sorry, people, we're running a little bit late because I know. We're working on her. So tonight we're going to make brownies. I think it's going to be fun. These are brownies that I haven't made in a while, but I had my farm market stand and people really liked them. So I'm going to hand it off to Angie, who already licked the spoon and the bowl.
Hi, where's my wine? Oh,
It's over there.
Is.
Oh my God. She literally she just poured it. Okay. So here you go.
Okay.
Turn it around. It says low network. That's all right. So I think we're good and live. I don't know. Right?
It says live.
Okay. To say anyone's online
wine
yet?
over
That's
there.
a big wine, Age.
That's all right. You save some till tomorrow.
Okay. All right. So the brownies are, I think, really good. Why don't you turn it this way?
Which way?
This way.
That's what I tried to do, and it just said rotate your phone.
Oh.
You can't turn your phone while recording, it says.
Oh, you know what? Hey, everyone, we're going to disconnect. We'll be right back. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, people. We're going to do it so you can watch this way. We're going to do it. Didn't I do it this? Which way did I watch it last time?
I don't know.
Shit. It worked better when I did it. Oh, the other way. Okay, hold on. Never mind. All right, switch it this way. Nope. This way. Okay.
Oh, I thought you wanted to go up and down.
No, this
That's
is
fine. That's fine.
All right. Hi, everyone. Sorry for the delay.
I can't get all your stuff in there.
That's okay. You don't have to get everything in. Just get me.
Okay.
All
You're
right.
the only person who's important.
Exactly.
That's true.
So we're going to make brownies tonight. I posted the recipe a little bit earlier, and I'll post it into American measurements as well, but I always make everything in grams. If you have not yet bought a scale, get on Amazon and get one. I have a pink one, I have a silver one, and I have a black one for all formal occasions such as this. So I'll show you how we make the brownies. It's a pretty easy recipe. I think we can do it all in one bowl, which I think will make it kind of fun. So I'm going to put the scale underneath, put my bowl on top, and I'm going to hit on, and then I'm going to hit the button that says tare, or your scale might say 0. And that means I've zeroed out what's on the bowl weight. So whatever I put in is exactly what I want. So I'm going to do 75 grams of butter, which I know that a stick of butter is 113 grams. So let's see how close I get. 84, a little too much. And yes, I washed my hands. Stop asking me that. Of course, I'm a professional. Of course I washed my hands before.
Hey, Anne-Marie, we see you.
All right, so that's the butter. And then we're going to put 185 grams of white sugar in. Yep, that's perfect. All right, and then I'm going to put this in the microwave to melt it up a little bit. And then I'll put my chocolate in. You can use chocolate chips. They'll melt in here just fine. But I want these two to melt together so that to it without the chocolate burning, and I can add the eggs to it without the eggs scrambling. So I want to melt it pretty gently. I'm going to put it in for 30 seconds to start, and then I'll check on it. I'll probably have to stir it and redo a bit of it. So. Right. And while that's melting in there, I'll talk a little bit about what you can do to customize this recipe. So one of the things that you can do is whatever you like in brownies, I don't know, kind of really whatever you like in a candy bar. If you like a caramel, like you like a Twix in a cookie, put some caramel in a cookie in there. If you like a Reese's, grab some peanut butter, and before you put them in the oven, swirl the peanut butter through. You can put M&Ms in it, you can put whatever you want. You can even go a little bit more grown up and add something like cinnamon and ginger. And I don't mean specifically grown up, but I think I'm going to put it in for another 30 seconds. All microwaves are different, so don't pay attention to that. So I think one of the other things to remember is that you can put whatever you want in it. So if you love peppermint and chocolate together, instead of using vanilla extract, switch it out and use peppermint oil. or peppermint extract. Either one will work just fine. Go a little easier, especially on peppermint oil, because it can be really strong. But any of the projects that you thought you were going to do and you still have left over, this is a really good time to make some brownie batter and mix in what you like. So you could add some smoked salt, which I love, on top. I've got some candied ginger here, but you could use stem ginger, and you can also use a little bit of powdered ginger. I like cinnamon and chocolate together, so I think you could do some cinnamon and you could do some cayenne together. I think that would kind of give you that Mexican hot chocolate feeling. I think that would be really good. And so really what the things that you like mixed with chocolate is what you should do with your brownies. So I'm gonna go check my chocolate and my butter, my sugar and my butter mixed together. I know, I should have already had one of these out, all right? And it's pretty warm right now, but it's not too hot to put the chocolate in. If you microwave chocolate by itself, whether it's chocolate chips or full chocolate, like I'm gonna use, it can burn super fast. Within 30 seconds, like one of those little pieces can burn really fast. So I recommend not putting full chocolate in the microwave, but microwaving or heating up whatever else you're gonna put with the chocolate, and then it shouldn't be quite as hot. So all I've done is mix the sugar and the butter together right here. Still using just one bowl. Let's see if I can do the whole thing. And I'm gonna do tare to zero it out again. And I'm gonna put 60 grams of dark chocolate. Now, I'm a chocolatier, so yes, I have access to really good chocolate. If you want to, you can use chocolate chips. If you want to use milk chocolate, you can use milk chocolate. If you're gonna use milk chocolate, I would do it a little bit more. So I'm gonna put about 60 grams in. That was about 36 grams, so it's not a huge recipe. So I would probably double this if you had more than 2 people in your house. And then as I stir it up, it should melt the chocolate pretty easily.
Wow.
I know. So you're not going to burn the chocolate, it's just going to melt it really easily. I know right now it looks kind of icky, but trust me, just a few more seconds of stirring and getting it incorporated will make it really, really good. It smells good already, I'll tell you that.
How's my camera work?
I don't know, you guys on the line.
I'm asking them.
You're asking them?
Yeah.
Because last time you dropped it?
Yeah, I'm not dropping it this time.
Oh God. She is half the glass in, so.
Maybe more than that.
Oh Lord. So that's what it should look like. Not perfect, right? But it's also cooled off quite a bit, so when I put the eggs in, it's not going to scramble the eggs, which is kind of important. So if you did this on the stove, I think it's harder to judge. One of the reasons I like a glass bowl is that it holds the heat, but not for too long, and I can feel it really easily, and it's not going to burn me. I know if it's not going to burn me, it's not going to scramble the eggs. Pop them in there. Pop those 2 eggs in. The eggs, it's fine if they're room temperature. They can be cold if you have them. So I'm just gonna squish these all around. So again, if you wanted to double this recipe, you'll see about how much it makes. I think I usually like quadrupled or octupled this recipe when I made these for production. Okay. So now I'm going to add, I'm just going to do a plain straight chocolate brownie. And this is where I'll add the vanilla. And I can measure it, but I don't really have to. A little bit of good vanilla. And this is the time, if you wanted to, you could add something else in. So rum and coffee are a really good combination to add right now, and Kahlua has both, so I think it's great. And if it's your kids, it's the alcohol in this and the alcoholic vanilla extract are about the same, so I wouldn't be super worried about adding something like Kahlua, because the rum and the coffee together taste good, but they're your kids. I don't have any, so I'm not worried about anyone doing that. So stir the vanilla in. Right. Lindsay, it's nice and, I don't know, I think nice and gloopy. You might think it's gooey. Right. So now I'm gonna add the dry ingredients. All right. It's not a lot of cocoa because we've already put chocolate in. Cocoa is really drying. So you don't want to add too much cocoa. I know, like, you think, like, no, you can't have too much cocoa in something, but in a recipe like this, the cocoa is really drying. Like, imagine when you put cocoa in your mouth, just a little bit of it dries out your mouth very, very quickly, like flour would. So I think the best thing you can do is add it in, add just the right amount in. So I'm going to zero out my scale again and put in my flour, which is 112 grams. I know it's annoying, 112 grams, but once you start to bake with a scale, there we go, 112 on the dot. And then I can put my cocoa in now too. Do I need to sift anything? No. You could if you really wanted to. Or if your cocoa was super clumpy, you could. All right, so there's that. And now is when I can add my salt. So I use a sea salt. Trader Joe's, love you. But you can really use whatever kind of salt you want. You can just use plain old table salt. And throw that in. Add a little bit more. Salt tends to bring out the richness of chocolate. So I don't recommend leaving that part out. And now we'll just stir these until it combines. And you don't want to over stir it. I remember making brownies from a box when I was little, and they would always say, don't over stir. The reason for that is that you don't want to activate the gluten, which is in the flour. And it's kind of the opposite of making bread. When you make bread, you do want to activate the gluten because you want it to make those air pockets and hold everything together. But in something like a brownie, you want it to be soft or you want it to be chewy. And so you don't want to activate the gluten. So you just stir it until it comes together. And then this is the part when you can think about what you want to add in. So if you want to add in, I think chocolate chips taste great in a brownie. I think they soften up pretty nicely. But this is the point where you can look through your pantry and see what you have left over from last Christmas, ingredient-wise. So you can add nuts, you can add dried fruit, you can add more chocolate. I love crystallized ginger, but I don't know if anyone else does, so I'm not going to add it here. Regina just made a face, so I won't do that. But you wouldn't want to put in more than 180 grams. I think 150 grams would be plenty. And then you can see what it would be. So I'm going to add the chocolate chips now. And I'm going to put in, there's a handful. That's about 100 grams. You can see that's going to give me enough so that there's probably 5 or 6 in each cupcake. So we're going to cupcake individually, but you can definitely put this in a pan and cook it like a full brownie. But I like it this way. It seems more special to make brownie cupcakes. So we're pretty much done. That's good. And now I'm just going to take the batter and I'm going to put it into the cupcake tin. And I have really, really special ones here that I got to line it, or I would line them. I wouldn't use butter, flour, cocoa to put in. I think it's a lot easier. And they travel better once they're in these little paper cups. Of course, I got pink ones. And then I'll use one of these. A couple of things that I always recommend for baking for fun. I just think if you realized how many different things I would have had to use to measure everything, you see I've just done it all in one bowl. It's a lot easier than measuring all those different things out. So I hope you guys try the scale. Right? And I scoop it. And you want to fill it just a little bit over halfway, so maybe 2/3. I'm not known for my neatness in the kitchen, by the way.
I don't mind cleaning up.
Regina already complained that I cleaned the bowl too well, so she didn't get enough on her spoon when she was licking it earlier.
Yeah, but I already cleaned the floor where you spilled all kinds of stuff on it.
I spilled salt. It wasn't my fault.
It was easy.
The
Vacuum did it.
Okay. So scoop those in. And again, you could cook this in a regular metal pan. I like a metal pan a little bit better than a glass pan, but it's up to you. And then I'm going to put a little sprinkle of sea salt on each one. And that's kind of up to you. Again, if you like chocolate and salt together, do it. If you don't like chocolate and salt together, don't do it. Then my recommendation for this, I'm making 6. There's only 2 people here, and we're going to have to give these to our neighbors because we already have another 6 made. But one thing I recommend, other recommendation is buy some of these from a restaurant supply store in 2 different heights of things that you make all the time. And then the key is to put some masking tape on it. I like purple. And then say what it is. And this is a perfect thing for this time of year, that you could pre-make some things while you're at home, as long as you can find flour and sugar at the grocery store. All right, so brownie, and then I would say, what month is it? I think it's March.
Yeah.
2020.
That's perfect.
And that way, when you go into your freezer, I recommend this for all things in your freezer. This is how almost every professional kitchen works. They always have everything labeled, technically by law. You have to have it labeled with what's in it and the date that you made it. And I just think those mysterious packages of foil meat, it kind of grosses me out. So this way, you'll always know what you have. And if you have people coming over for dinner, or you need a sweet treat for your kids the next day, you can grab the brownies out, throw them in the refrigerator, throw them on the counter, let them thaw, and then you can cook them. The cooking time might be a little bit longer, but you can tell pretty easily, and I'll show you how. So I'm going to take these that have the sea salt on them. I'm going to put them in the oven, but I haven't really turned on yet. But again, I always recommend convect for most baking, and I'll cook these at 325. Right? And these are warm out of the oven. I cooked them just a little bit earlier. And you can see, I didn't put any sea salt on these, I just made them plain. But now the fun part is, I can now put icing on them. So not only am I going to show you how to make a really good brownie, so it's like a brownie bite. Right? And these are still just a little bit warm, but they're a little bit fudgy in the middle. Right? And then they've got not too hard of a crust on top or on the sides, because they were cooked in here as opposed to just a regular pan. Hot, but so good. It's always good to wash it down with a little wine. Okay, so do a little cleanup, put your brownie batter in the fridge, and then I'll talk about 2 different ways to ice them. So if you're using just a regular brownie batter like this, you can use two different things that I really like. I think you can make whatever you want, but I really, really like cream cheese icing. Such a good combination. And I'll also show you how to make a ganache. And ganache can be used as icing, it can be used as frosting, it can be used liquid to pour over something. And ganache, really all it means is a mixture of cream and chocolate. So it's really easy to do. The best way you can do it is to just use an equal part of cream and chocolate.
So I've gotten halfway through here, and I haven't dropped the phone yet.
Yay! Angie's getting it. So again, I'll use my scale, and I'll just put a handful in. Actually, I'll do the cream first, because that's how I'm going to show it. So I'll do the cream, and you don't need to boil it. You just want to get it pretty hot so that it's going to melt the chocolate. So I did about 70, let's do 100 grams. And it will depend on the chocolate you use. I use a 72% from Guittard, which is from California. I love their chocolate. I think it's super good. So I'm going to warm this up. Probably just 30 seconds to warm this up pretty fast. And then I'll put the chocolate in. You can use chocolate chips. I'm not going to judge you if you use chocolate chips for this instead. But this is semi-sweet, so you might want to use a little bit less cream. I'm using the 72%, which is going to be darker, because it's a bittersweet as opposed to a semi-sweet. If you're using milk chocolate, you would use even less cream. So once the chocolate, we'll put the chocolate in once the cream gets pretty hot. Okay. And I just think using the microwave to do this is a lot faster and a lot easier. You can see I've got a little steam coming up. I'll zero out my scale again. And when I get to 100, I'll stop. And I'll let it sit for about 30 seconds. And then when I stir it, it's basically going to make the most delicious frosting you've ever had. And again, you can use any kind of chocolate that you like. Same with the brownies, you can use any kind of chocolate that you like. And once this combines together into gets evenly added to mixed together, You can use it for a lot of things. So you could frost a cake with it. You could put it in a mixer and beat it up so it's really light and airy. And this is also what the inside of a lot of chocolates have in them. So if you wanted something super, super chocolatey, you could make the ganache and then put it like a dollop of ganache inside before you baked the brownies. You'll see slowly, I should be able to combine. I'm impatient. I really should have waited another 20 seconds probably. But you can see it starts to look weird, and then as you stir and stir and stir, it should, hopefully, I might have to put it in the microwave for another couple seconds. And letting it sit for a little while longer is good. So it looks kind of like chocolate milk right now. But once that cocoa, that chocolate, starts to come together with the cream, it'll be luscious, it'll be so delicious. And you can use milk if you want, if that's a better, if you have that at home. I don't know. Depends on what you've got at the grocery store, I assume, right now. You can see it's starting to come together. It looks so weird in the beginning, kind of like the brownie batter looks kind of weird in the beginning when it's just the sugar and the butter and the chocolate. Okay. And this is pretty warm. It'll thicken on standing, so it means you could use it like an icing, or you can use it any other way. And then if I wanted to, I can pour this on, or I can wait for it to thicken and use it more like a frosting with a knife. It's kind of up to you. And again, if you wanted to, this is a point where if I wanted to, I could add a little bit of a different flavoring. So I could add a little coffee and rum. I could add a little peppermint oil. If you like nuts, you could do a frangelico, which is hazelnuts. I think that would be really good. So we mostly have the chocolate incorporated into the warm cream. And then I'm just gonna pour this on top of my cupcake brownies. You would want them to cool a little bit more than what ours do, but what we have now, but anyway, it's gonna really work, trust me. Nothing's gonna go wrong with ganache. I mean, it's cream and chocolate together. But if you wanted to, you could technically make candies out of these. You could wait for them to solidify, wait for this to solidify, and then you could use a little ice cream scoop and you'd be making little truffles. You can cover in cocoa, you could cover in any other coconut, anything else you want to do. So it's all about imagination, I think, when it comes to baking. Like, you come up with the basic recipe, and then once you've got the recipe down that you've made, I think, plain for the first time, and then every time after that, you can change it up a little bit. Like, I really like to add coffee to chocolate. I think that mocha taste is really good. And I do like a little bit of sea salt mixed in with my chocolate as well. So I'm not gonna wait for these last little ones to melt, but trust me, they will. Or I could put them back in the microwave for just a couple of seconds, and that last little lump would go.
How'd you do that?
How'd you do that? Nah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Right? So then I can wait for it, put it in the refrigerator for just a couple of minutes. You'd want to watch it pretty closely because you don't want it to solidify completely. But I'm just going to pour this on. And that's one of the reasons why I don't fill up the cupcakes all the way, because I think it leaves such a pretty top when you pour it on like that, and then just give it a shake. And again, if you want to use milk chocolate, go right ahead. You could even use white chocolate for this. It would give you a really different look and a different taste as well. Right. So I'm going to shake it on, hopefully. It'll fill in all those edges. Right. I think they look really, really special like now. So you could add anything you wanted from your little tray now as well. So for some of these, I'm going to put a little bit of candied ginger, because I think that tastes good. If you have sprinkles left over from Christmas, why not use them now? If you have anything left over from anywhere, this is a good chance to use them. This is a chance, if you wanted to, you could put a little bit of salt on that one, a nice salt. And what else do I have over here? I've got gingerbread. I thought I had something else over here. Salt. Oh, you could put a couple chocolate chips on top, just in case it's not chocolatey enough for you right now. Just like that. Always put an odd number on though. I don't know, people say it looks better that way. And then the last thing I will show you is, I'm not gonna pipe it on, but I'm gonna show you, I love a cream cheese frosting. So those are the ganache ones right here. All right, should I turn this on? There we go. They weren't baking before now, but I really think those look good. I think it's easy enough for someone to do with a kid, without a kid, however you want to do it. I think it would be fun to do. So now I have to look it up because I can't remember my cream cheese recipe. So for the cream cheese, it's 400 grams of cream cheese. And don't worry, Regina's going to use the rest of the cream cheese, and I used full eggs this time, so you don't have to ask me where does the other half egg go, because we know Regina used it yesterday in crab cakes. I will tell you, we're eating pretty well during this quarantine period. And we're having fun, a lot of fun. I don't know if Regina's going to make it with the wine, but I have to slow my consumption. Let's see. I'm going to do a quick half of the recipe I put out, because I just don't want to make that much. A little bit more. And then I'm going to do about half the amount of butter. Actually, I can use this butter. And I wouldn't normally microwave this, but I'm going to, just so you can see how it goes together a little bit better. So I'm going to put it in the microwave for 20 seconds or so. And then if you want to, you can add confectioner sugar. Don't add granulated sugar. Confectioner sugar is absolutely the way to go, because you don't want those granulated sugar. You don't want those little crystals to be in here. So that's about 15 seconds. That should soften this up. Is the confectioner sugar down here, Ange?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell I don't cook here all the time?
That might be it. Yeah, I think that is.
That's it.
Yeah.
For sure, it feels different.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
That's right. So I'm just going to put a little bit of confectioner sugar in here. And then again, you can put whatever you want. So if you did a hot, like a little bit of a spicy brownie, you could put a little cinnamon in the cream cheese, and that would combine out really well. Combine together really well. And then a little bit of vanilla, because that's how I like it. And then I would just use a fork to mix it all up together. I would probably use a piping bag, because I think it's kind of fun to use a piping bag for things like this. And pipe these on the next batch of brownies that are coming out. Or I could put a little dollop on top of the brownie itself. It just takes a little while to get this incorporated. But you can see, like, most of my tools that I recommend are not complicated. The scale, I think, is so key, because you don't have to make things as dirty. And then I normally use a fork instead of using a whisk, because I just think it's easier. So now I can use a spoon, and I can put a little dollop of my cream cheese icing. This is a special French technique, I will tell you this, but I was never really good at it, so don't have
I've
high
seen them do it on
expectations.
TV.
Oh yeah? It's called
Yeah.
a quenelle.
Oh, yeah.
But I am not very good at doing this.
It looks
It's how,
good.
It's how you'd had to do ice cream when you were in France. There you go. Put a little dollop on. It should be perfect, but I had 2 different spoons. It was kind of hard. And then I just put like one little chocolate chip on the top here.
Perfect.
So you've got
Beautiful.
chocolate, cream cheese, chocolate, and more chocolate.
Looks good.
So again, you could really customize this with anything you want. I put the recipe for the brownies on. I'll put the icing recipes on as well. But the one thing, while you've got time, like, make some of them in the freezer. And then when you're really busy during the holidays, just pull out your cookie dough, pull out your brownie batter, and make something fun, especially if you're going to a party. People will be so impressed. 3 different things. So I think we might do some shortbread next time we get together. Are there any questions, Regina? Anything for us?
Oh, I think tomorrow I might be doing some shrimp dip.
We're gonna go back to the 70s, baby. And I used to stalk the shrimp dip at Regina's bridge parties when I was little. It was always one of my favorite things. So hopefully you guys had fun. You learned something. Buy a freaking scale. See you tomorrow.
Bon appetit!